In this video, I'm going to discuss about what is XSD, why XSD, how to write your own XSD, and what is the relationship between XSD and XML. Firstly, we will not go into the depth of XSD. We will discuss about XSD, whatever is required for our web service course. Okay, let us get started. As all of you are object-oriented developers, I'll try to tell you in an object-oriented way. Let us talk about an object. I want to create an object. First of all, if I want to create an object, do I need to define a class? Can I create an object without a class definition? No, right? Whenever you say object is getting created, you need to tell what are all the properties of the object, how many methods are present in the object, everything you need to define. Generally, you do that in a class definition. So once you have a class definition, you'll be able to create an object of it, an instance of the class. Similarly, I want to write my own XML. Every XML will have their own tag names, their own attributes, etc. Where are they defined? What should be the root tag name? What all attributes are present in an XML? What are all the child tag names? Where do we define it? We define everything in a XSD. So that if I define my structure of an XML in an XSD, whenever I'm getting some XML from someone else, I'll be able to validate whether the incoming XML is according to the definition or not. So XSD is to XML just like a class is to an object. Hope you understood now. Now, why do we require an XSD actually? Basically, if I want two applications to communicate with each other, let's say I have a Java application and some other application also is there developed in .NET. They want to exchange data between each others. That means Java application has some data inside some object. .NET application wants to exchange the data, wants to read the data. How can a Java object be sent to a .NET application? Can we do serialization of Java object and send it? Yes, of course we can do. But .NET application should know how to deserialize a Java object. Is it? So generally what we do is we convert the object to XML, and then the .NET application will again convert this XML back to a object which is understood by this framework. So whenever the applications are exchanging XMLs, we need to validate whether the XML which is coming, is it valid or not according to the schema definition. So that's where we use XSD. So for every class definition in our object oriented language, we can define a complex type in XSD. So in XSD, if you want to define a structure, you define it by using a tag called as complex type. In object oriented languages, class is nothing but a structure, is it? You define your custom user defined structure using by writing a class definition. Similarly, we can define a structure by using a complex type in XSD. So let us take an example how to do it. Let's take a simple example. I have a class called as order.java in this project xsd-solution. Let it open. Order class is having order ID, customer ID, and list of order items. What is this order item? If I just open it again, order item has item ID, item name, and quantity. Now what I want to do is I want to actually create a schema definition. I want to define this class inside a schema. So how to define a complex type? corresponding to order or order item. So this is my schema. I can create an XSD file by right clicking on SRC main resources like this, new, other, schema. I just write schema, XML schema file. You can just take this XML schema file, give a name, XSD file will be created. I have created an XSD here already. Now if you see, the root tag of XSD file will be schema. And I'll come to this target namespace. What is the meaning of target namespace in few minutes. But see here, I have defined a complex type called as order item. One complex type definition is equivalent to class definition. So inside order item class, we have three things: item ID, item name, quantity. Item ID is of type int, item name string, quantity is int. So in XML, we also have to say that each element should come in what sequence. Element tag is equivalent to XML tag. So in this complex type, I am saying that order item will contain three tags: item ID tag, item name tag, and quantity tag. So this is equivalent to order item class. Then you see another complex type order equivalent to order class. I am defining that order tag has these tags like order ID, customer ID, and order items in sequence. And here if you see, order items is of what type? Is of type order item. Why is this prefix defined here? TNS, what is this TNS? I'll come to it. So just understand that order items is of type this complex type. And if you want to define these order items as a list of order item, you have to say min occurs equal to 0 and max occurs equals to unbounded. So this complex type definition is equivalent to order class definition. Okay. Now coming to the namespace. If you can see here, this schema file is having something called as target namespace. What do I mean by target namespace? The meaning is, whatever types I am defining, these complex types and all, belongs to this namespace. As an object-oriented developer, you can assume that namespace is equivalent to packages. Why do we use packages in object-oriented applications? So that if there are two classes with same name, let's say I have two classes called as order.java, same name, class name is same. How do I distinguish between these two classes? The logic, the code inside each class is different. How do I distinguish? By using a package. So this order might be belonging to some different package, and this order might be different belonging to different package. Similarly, in XML world, we'll be using tag names. Let's say I have a tag called as order. This order is defined in which schema? Where is the definition written for order tag? So the definition will be present in a .xsd file. Every XSD file will be uniquely identified by a target namespace. So my orders.xsd is identified by target namespace. That means order item complex type, order complex type belong to this namespace. It's equivalent to saying two classes are belonging to same package. As an object-oriented developer, you can always assume that target namespace is equivalent to package name, right? And whenever I am saying here, coming back here, see, order items, I am saying it is of type TNS colon order item. What is this TNS? You can see here, in the root tag itself, the same namespace, target namespace, is assigned a prefix. So whenever I want to say that a class or a complex type belongs to this schema, I'll use this TNS namespace, this prefix. So that means order items is of type order item defined in this namespace. And in this tag order items, it can occur from minimum 0 to unbounded. That means this order items is of type list. That's how I define two complex types. Then again, if somebody is creating a XML based on this XSD, every XML should have a root tag, is it? What should be the name of the root tag? I should somehow define. If you see in the schema, the child tags like item ID, item name, and quantity, the names of child tags are defined inside the complex type only. But root tag name is not defined. Don't assume that root tag name will be same as a complex type name. You have to define one more element of type order item. That's what I did. So here I am saying that order should be the root tag whenever we are creating a XML which is equivalent to order object. Okay, so I defined the element. So this is how I defined my own schema, a simple schema. Understanding of this schema will be sufficient for our rest of the web service course. Hope you understood about what is the use of target namespace and what is the use of assigning a prefix to a namespace, right? And now suppose if I have to create XML corresponding to this XSD, following this XSD, how would I create it? Let me just show you. Here if you see the root tag is containing element form default is qualified, I will just make it as unqualified. Let me just generate an XSD. You will see the meaning of this unqualified versus qualified. So I have this XSD. I'll want to create an XML following it. So new other XML file, and say I'll just give some name test.xml. Next, create an XML from some schema file. Next, which schema file? I'll just go here, search main resources orders.xsd. Next, it's asking what is the prefix names to be used and all, and also it's asking what should be the root element. See order, because I defined an element tag, it's asking what should be the root tag order, and I'll say finish. If you observe, the root tag is a order, and order tag is defined in which namespace? TNS is a prefix. Corresponding to TNS prefix, what is the namespace? This is a namespace. So here I am saying the order element means order tag is defined in a namespace with this prefix. For this prefix, what is the corresponding namespace? Is a one. Is it the same one as in the XSD target namespace? Yes. So I can say that this XML is following this namespace. And what is the schema location for this namespace? Orders.xsd. Just because both XML and XSD are both in same relative directory, here it is pointing to same directory. And you can observe that order is having order ID and customer ID, but you can just see that order items is not present because the min occurs is 0, so by default it is not defined. You can of course write order item. I'll just press control space. See, if I press control space, the ID is able to show me what all tags are relevant at this point. Order items I can specify. Alright, and again you can see that order item can contain item ID, item name, and quantity, which are nothing but defined inside item ID, item name, and quantity here defined here. Is it? So hope you understood how to create an XML following an XSD. And one more thing before I end, One XML might be using tags defined in n number of XMLs. So one XML can import n number of XSDs, and for every XSD you have to tell what is the namespace, and you have to map namespace to a prefix. Whenever you are using a tag belonging to a particular schema, you have to prefix, you have to use a prefix. Okay, then coming to what do I mean by unqualified. Unqualified means, here if you see, the root tag is only having the namespace, but the child tags are not having the namespace. That means the namespace of the parent is inherited by children. Okay, but now let me just create one more XML with saying qualified. You will understand it. I will generate an XML, another XML, new other XML file. I'll say something A, and next create an XML from schema file, and I'll select the same schema which I modified right now. Next, finish. If you see, the child tags also have the namespace prefix, because I said in the XSD that every element should take a form of qualified namespace, right? So if you don't want child tags to be qualified by using a prefix, generally we don't want, the namespace of the parent should be inherited to child tags as well. So in such cases, whenever you are defining an XSD, you have to specify unqualified. Okay, hope you understood about it. That takes us to the end of this tutorial, this video tutorial. I don't want to go into the depth of XSD. This information about XSD should be sufficient for us to understand web services. See you in next video, where we'll be discussing about Jaxby. Before you go on to next video, you just have to download the lab instructions given to you. There are lab instructions for my first project, XSD. So here I have given you some clear instructions on what you have to do with the knowledge whatever you gained in this video. Same thing actually, whatever I told you, you have to write a schema for two classes, order and order item. So how to write it step by step is defined already in this document. Just go through these steps. It should take you some 5 minutes to complete this lab exercise. Once you complete lab exercise, then only please go to the next video.